Landscape photographers, we're always talking about the conditions, about the weather and the challenges that those conditions create for us. For some people it's driving rain and freezing cold. For me, I'm quite often dealing with this: clear blue skies. And if you think they're not a challenge, they are, trust me, because clear blue skies are generally pretty boring. And I've got two choices with clear blue skies. I can stay at home and go out another day, but of course the problem with that is, here we could get a run of a week, 2 weeks with, nary a sight of a cloud. Or my other option is to come out and try to find scenes and compositions that will work with a blue sky. And that's what I'm doing today. I've come out, I'm actually at Amadoreo Reservoir again, which is where I was a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago. But I'm right at the other end of the reservoir, so I've got a long way from where I was. And I'm just going to have a nose around here and maybe look for shots, close-up detail shots, maybe texture shots, maybe some shots featuring a blue sky, I don't know. Whatever I find, I'll show you. I hope you'll enjoy the video. If you do and you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe before you go. So one of the things I've learned with doing quite a lot of blue sky photography is mostly sunset is not a great time for it, because without clouds to catch the light and pick up those colours, sunsets can be a bit boring. But an hour before sunset, maybe even half an hour before sunset, when you've still got direct light on the scene and it's coming from fairly low down in the sky, that can give us some interesting images if you can find the right subject and if you can find the right angle to shoot it from. And of course that's the trick, finding that subject and that angle. And it's not always easy. There's no alternative really but to walk around and look and check out potentials until you find something. And that's what I'm doing. I've come down into what would basically have been where the river comes in, the River Amadoreo comes into Amadoreo Reservoir. And the reason I've come down here is the amount of green has caught my eye. We don't see a lot of kind of lush greens here. We tend to get darker greens, sort of browny greens, because of the arid environment. But as I'm coming down closer to the water, I'm seeing quite a lot of sort of greenish grass growing here, and it's just unusual to see it. So I thought I'd come down and see if there's a scene to shoot. What I have noticed is there's a load of ducks in the water down there. So if I don't scare them away, I might even take a picture of some ducks. We'll see. The greenery down there didn't lend itself towards any images that I could see, but hopefully I got some pictures of some ducks, or a picture of some ducks. They didn't really like me being there. They started to move off of the water, I think trying to put some distance between me and them, so I decided to move away. Now I'm just looking to see if there's anything else. I've come under the bridge. Now the last time I was at this end of the reservoir, this was all completely underwater, but now it's dry. But there's a little bit of water coming in sort of, you know, from the end that's away from the reservoir. And I found this trickle of water running off of a broken concrete ledge. And underneath there's rocks which have got all green algae on, and then there's some plants under there as well. And I can't resist, even though it's nothing particularly exciting, I can't resist it as a little detail shot. So what I've done is I've got my tripod set up on the little ledge here. I've got my 11 to 22 lens on, and I've got a circular polarizer on. Circular polarizer is giving me a 1 second exposure. That's a bit longer than I would normally like for, you know, kind of a waterfall effect. But this is only a trickle of water, so it might actually look better with a slightly longer exposure. But what I'll do is I'll do one at 1 second, and then I'll maybe bring the ISO up to 200 and do one at half a second and see what that looks like. I've got a scene here which, if I can avoid lens flare, might make for an interesting kind of almost abstract, but not really, kind of like an intimate detail study. What I've got in the background here, and I'm going to struggle to show you on video because I'm looking towards the sun, but there's a row of some kind of reeds or wild grasses which are all being backlit by the sun. Behind that there's another load which seem to be slightly bigger, slightly longer, also backlit. And then behind that is trees that are a lot darker, a lot more in shadow. And I'm thinking a telephoto shot with kind of the two rows of the brightly lit reeds or grasses or whatever they are, with the darker background, but still a bit of detail in there. That might look quite interesting. So I'm going to shoot that now, and we'll see what it looks like. So I'm thinking probably around 130, about 130 mil, something like that. Just bump the ISO up a fraction to ISO 200 just to try and keep my exposure time quite fast, both because I'm hand holding and because the reeds are moving a bit. Got to be really careful about that sun and the sun flare or the lens flare. That's better. That's a better angle. I've got a scene set up over here. Not entirely sure it's going to work, but always worth a try. There's a bridge in the foreground, but that's not part of the scene. I'm shooting above the bridge. There's a hillside goes up, it's got a few trees on the side. That's mostly in shadow. Way over the back there, behind that, is the Sierra Aitana, the tallest mountain range in this part of Spain. Got some really nice light on it, picking out the details and the shapes and the curves. And then right on the top of that, there's a radar installation. I don't know if it's air traffic control or whether it's military. I do know if you go climbing up there and you get onto it, you get told to go away. So I've been told anyway. There's some blue sky above it. And at the moment, my composition has got a bit of blue sky in. I'm going to crop this down 16 by 9 and remove a big chunk of that blue sky. I'm concentrating on getting the composition of the bottom part of the frame right, because I'm going to crop a lot of the top of it out. That mountain range and that building, that sort of radar installation with a globe shaped top on it, is a pretty long way away, and it's, even though it's not particularly hot today, we're still getting a little bit of haze, so I've got a circular polarizer on just to cut through that a little bit and see if it makes it pop a little bit more. I'm shooting f11 ISO 100 1/113th of a second just to see how that comes out, and we'll give it a go. There are some power lines crossing the scene. They're hopefully going to be fairly faint in there, and I should be able to clone them out pretty quickly and pretty easily in Photoshop when I get this back, if it works, if it's worth it. Okay, you can probably see behind me all the lights gone off the scene now. It's not actually officially sunset yet, but with the blue sky daylight today, there's no point in hanging around because there's nothing to light up. I've had a little wander around and taken a few pictures. Hopefully, one or two of them will have worked out okay. And you'll already have seen them, as always. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please give it a like, share it on social media. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think. If you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more of my stuff and you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe before you go. And as always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch, so thank you very much. And until the next video, bye.